Hey everyone, it's August 21st, and that means that if today is your birthday, you share with Japanese serial killer Tsutomu Miyazaki, known as the Otaku Murderer, who killed 4 children in 1988 and 1989. And that is him right up there, and I apologize for my terrible Japanese pronunciation. Miyazaki was born prematurely in 1962 and suffered from a birth defect that left him with deformed hands which were fused at the wrist. His deformity led to trouble in school, with other children ostracizing him, so he retreated into a world filled with anime and manga. Though he hoped to be a teacher someday, his grades in high school were poor, and he ended up studying to be a photo technician, developing rolls of film. All the while, his obsession with anime, manga, and horror films grew, and some believe that they were influences on what would come next. He was especially fond of the Guinea Pig series of films, which were based on a manga and were so graphic that the filmmaker had to prove to the authorities that no one was harmed while making the films. They are filled with scenes of gore, mutilation, torture, and murder. In 1988, Miyazaki began acting out in real life in ways that could easily have been part of the films he loved so much. His first victim was a 4-year-old girl who he strangled and photographed, then let the body decompose in the hills near his home before cutting off her hands and feet to keep in his closet while dumping the rest of her bones in a park. 2 months later, he struck again, this time a 7-year-old girl who he convinced to get in his car and left her body near where the undiscovered corpse of his first victim lay. And he convinced another 4-year-old to hop in his car and do the same in December of that year, but was nearly seen by passers-by. Police found his 3 victims and learned that their families had been receiving strange prank phone calls where the caller remained silent and had been sent postcards in the mail that looked like ransom notes, with letters cut from magazines spelling out words like cold and death. Miyazaki even sent photographs of clothing and bones he had kept from his victims to their parents. Police investigated the photos and found that the camera used was commonly used by those who print photos themselves, but before they discovered who the perpetrator was, he struck again. It was 6 months after his last victim, and this time it was a 5-year-old girl who he snatched from a park, videotaping her lifeless body after he killed the girl. He dismembered the corpse and ate parts of it before dumping the rest in a cemetery. The body was found quickly this time around, but 1 month later he tried to take another victim. In July of 1989, he lured one of a pair of sisters away from the other and began photographing her in various graphic poses. The other sister ran home to get help, and their father caught Miyazaki in the act. He was held for the authorities, and now that he was caught, he confessed in full to the brutal murders he had committed. He was tried and convicted, and despite a diagnosis of having multiple personality disorder, he was sentenced to death. Miyazaki spent the rest of his life, much as he did before he was incarcerated, reading manga and watching anime, this time in a prison cell. He was executed in 2008. If this is your birthday, I hope you have a great day. Leave me a comment so I can wish you a happy birthday. If you know someone whose birthday it is today, send them this video so they can find out all about their birthday twin. And to Tsutomu Miyazaki, I say, happy birthday, you bastard. And check out this view from my hotel room in Oslo, Norway.